If your legs have started to feel weaker after 60, and simple things like getting up from a chair, climbing stairs, or walking across a parking lot now take more effort than they used to, this may be one of the most important videos you watch all year. Because what most people believe about leg weakness is incomplete. They assume it is just age, just time, just the body slowing down. But that is not the full picture. In many cases, the real issue is that the muscles are no longer getting one critical daily nutritional signal they need to stay active, responsive, and strong. And when that signal's missing day after day, the legs begin to lose power quietly, little by little, until one day you feel it in everything you do. The good news is that this process is not always as fixed as people think. In fact, one daily food may help support the exact systems your leg muscles rely on most. And today, I am going to show you why this matters, what happens inside the body after 60, and which foods can make the biggest difference, starting with one of the most overlooked options of all. Before we get into it, tell me in the comments where you are watching from. I always love seeing this amazing Senior Health Circle community come together from all over the world. Now, here is what makes this so important. After 60, leg weakness is rarely just about using your muscles less. It is also about what happens inside the muscle tissue itself. As we age, muscle repair slows down, circulation may become less efficient. Nerve-to-muscle communication can weaken. Recovery takes longer, and the body often becomes less responsive to the nutrients that once helped maintain strength almost automatically. That means many older adults are eating enough food overall, but still not giving their muscles what they specifically need to preserve function in the legs. And the legs suffer first because they carry the body, stabilize balance, absorb impact, and keep you moving through every single day. When those muscles begin to decline, independence can begin to decline with them. That is why this is not just about exercise, and it is not just about calories. It is about whether your body is getting the right building materials and support signals consistently enough to maintain lower body strength. Today, I am going to walk you through a powerful countdown of foods that can help support stronger legs after 60. Each one brings something unique to the table. Some help with muscle repair. Some support circulation. Some help the body use protein more effectively. And one daily food in particular stands out because of how many of these benefits it delivers at once. Make sure you stay until the end, because the number one food is the one most people either underestimate or are eating in the wrong way. 5. Pumpkin seeds. Let's start with a food that does not get nearly enough attention when people talk about muscle strength. Pumpkin seeds. They are small, simple, easy to add to meals, and surprisingly powerful for aging muscles, especially in the legs. Most people think of muscle support only in terms of protein, but muscle function depends on much more than that. Your muscles also need minerals to contract properly, relax properly, recover properly, and communicate with the nervous system. And pumpkin seeds are packed with some of the key nutrients involved in that process. One of the biggest reasons pumpkin seeds matter is magnesium. This mineral plays a central role in muscle contraction, recovery, and energy production. When magnesium intake is low, muscles can feel tighter, weaker, more fatigued, and more prone to cramping. For older adults, that can show up as heavy-feeling legs, slower movement, stiffness when standing up, or less confidence while walking. Pumpkin seeds also provide zinc, which supports tissue repair, and they contain plant protein, healthy fats, and antioxidants that help support the body's recovery systems. But here is where many people miss the value of foods like this. They think if a food is small, it must not matter much. That is a mistake. The foods that help your legs are not always dramatic. Often, they work by quietly supporting the body day after day, reducing the tiny nutritional gaps that slowly contribute to weakness over time. Pumpkin seeds are one of those foods. They are not flashy, but they can be part of a daily pattern that helps your muscles perform better. And the easiest part is how simple they are to use. You can sprinkle them on yogurt, oatmeal, soup, salads, or cooked vegetables. You can blend them into a smoothie or eat a small handful as a snack. The key is consistency, not once in a while. Not only when you remember. Daily support is what matters most when you are trying to help aging muscles stay active. Now, pumpkin seeds are excellent for the supportive side of muscle function. But the next food on this list helps in a different way. It is one of the most practical foods for older adults who want more strength in their legs because it supports one of the biggest drivers of muscle loss after 60. And that is not just poor nutrition. It is reduced muscle rebuilding. 4. Greek yogurt. If there is one food that deserves more respect in conversations about strength after 60, it is Greek yogurt. And no, not because it is trendy, not because it is convenient, but because it gives the body a combination that becomes increasingly valuable with age. High-quality protein, plus a texture and format that is easy to eat consistently. One of the biggest problems older adults face is that the body becomes less efficient at turning dietary protein into muscle repair. In other words, you may be eating protein, but your body may not be responding to it as strongly as it did when you were younger. That means quality matters, distribution matters, and daily consistency matters more than ever. Greek yogurt helps because it contains concentrated protein in a form that many people find easier to digest and easier to include regularly, especially at breakfast or between meals. And breakfast is where many people unknowingly fall short. A piece of toast, coffee, maybe some fruit, and then they wonder why their energy drops and their legs feel weak by mid-morning. The body cannot maintain muscle on hope alone. It needs building material. If your first meal of the day contains almost no meaningful protein, you start the day behind. Greek yogurt can help correct that. It gives your muscles something real to work with early in the day, which may help support better function and recovery over time. Another reason this matters is that leg muscles are used constantly. Even on a quiet day, they are involved in standing, stabilizing, shifting weight, and helping you move safely. That means they are under regular demand. If you are not replenishing them properly, especially after 60, they may gradually lose tone and capacity. Greek yogurt is one of the easiest ways to start changing that pattern because it does not require complicated preparation. It can be paired with berries, nuts, cinnamon, or seeds. It can be used in savory meals as well. And because it is practical, people are more likely to stay consistent with it. Now, there is one important detail here. Not all yogurts are equal. Many flavored yogurts are loaded with sugar and contain much less protein than people assume. That matters. If you are choosing yogurt to support muscle strength, you want a version that is high in protein and not drowning in added sugar. Plain Greek yogurt is often the better choice because you control what goes into it. So we have one food that helps support muscle function through key minerals, and another that helps provide high-quality protein in a daily, easy-to-use form. But the next food brings something different, and this is where things start getting even more interesting. Because strength is not only about feeding the muscle, it is also about protecting the muscle from gradual breakdown over time. And the next food helps do exactly that. 3. Lentils. Lentils are one of the most underrated foods for adults over 60 who want stronger legs, better stamina, and more reliable daily energy. They may not sound exciting, but do not let that fool you. Lentils bring together several qualities that make them especially valuable in a muscle-supportive eating pattern. They provide plant protein, fiber, important minerals, and slow-digesting carbohydrates that help create a steadier foundation for the body. Here is why that matters. Many older adults are not just dealing with muscle loss. They are also dealing with fluctuating energy, reduced appetite, less movement, and meals that do not keep them fueled for very long. When that happens, the body may get caught in a cycle of undernourishment without the person even realizing it. They eat, but not in a way that truly supports their muscles. Lentils can help break that cycle because they are satisfying, nourishing, and metabolically steadying. They contain protein, which helps support muscle maintenance. They also provide iron and other nutrients involved in energy metabolism. And because they are rich in fiber, they help meals feel more substantial and balanced. That can matter more than people realize. If meals are too light or too low in protein and minerals, muscles do not get the resources they need. Over time, weakness can become more noticeable in the thighs, calves, and hips, especially when standing up or walking uphill. Lentils are also useful because they pair well with other muscle-supportive foods. You can combine them with olive oil, vegetables, eggs, yogurt-based sauces, or fish in different meals throughout the week. That means they do not have to carry the whole burden alone. They work well as part of a broader strategy to support the legs from multiple angles. And there is another advantage many people overlook. Consistency is easier when a food is affordable and flexible. Some people hear about healthy aging foods and assume they need a long shopping list of expensive specialty products. Not true. Some of the best foods for muscle support are everyday staples that have simply been ignored. Lentils are one of them. Soup, stew, side dish, salad base, warm bowl, simple puree, they can fit into almost any routine. But now, we are moving into the top 2. And this is where the list takes a major step up, because the next food is one of the most efficient daily foods for supporting muscle strength after 60. It is simple, familiar, and many people already have it in their kitchen. The problem is, they do not realize how powerful it can be when used the right way. 2. Eggs. The next food on this list is eggs. And if you have been underestimating them, you are not alone. Many people think of eggs as just a quick breakfast option, something ordinary, something basic. But when it comes to supporting leg strength after 60, eggs are anything but ordinary. They are one of the most efficient and practical foods you can eat because they deliver a powerful combination of high-quality protein, key vitamins, and natural compounds that help support muscle maintenance in a body that is no longer as responsive as it once was. This is one of the most important things to understand after 60. Your body doesn't hold on to muscle as easily as it did in your 30s or 40s. It needs a stronger nutritional signal to protect and rebuild muscle tissue. That is why the type of protein you eat matters so much. Eggs provide complete protein, which means they contain all the essential amino acids the body needs for muscle repair. And for older adults, that matters because the legs are constantly under demand. Every time you rise from a chair, step onto a curb, carry groceries, or steady yourself on uneven ground, your lower body muscles are being called into action. If those muscles are not being supported nutritionally, performance can start to slip in ways that feel subtle at first. Maybe you do not notice it immediately. Maybe it just feels like your legs tire faster than they used to. Maybe stairs seem a little more intimidating. Maybe standing for longer periods becomes more draining. But over time, those small changes can begin to shape your whole day. That is why foods like eggs matter so much. They help provide the body with a reliable, efficient tool for daily muscle support. And there is another reason eggs are so valuable. They are easy. That may not sound exciting, but in real life, ease matters. A food can be healthy on paper, but if it is too complicated, too expensive, too hard to prepare, or too inconvenient to eat often, it will not become part of your routine. Eggs solve that problem. They can be boiled, scrambled, poached, added to soups, served with vegetables, or paired with whole foods that strengthen the meal even further. They fit into breakfast, lunch, or dinner, and that flexibility makes consistency much more realistic. Now, here is where people sometimes go wrong. They rely on eggs in a way that is too narrow. They eat one egg with white toast and call it a healthy breakfast. But that may not be enough to create a truly supportive meal. The real strength of eggs comes when they are part of a more balanced plate. Pair them with vegetables, a source of fiber, maybe some healthy fat, maybe another protein-supportive food, and suddenly you are giving your body a much better signal. You are not just eating, you are feeding muscle maintenance on purpose. Another overlooked benefit is that eggs are often more manageable for people with reduced appetite, and that becomes more important with age than many realize. A lot of older adults are not eating enough protein simply because they do not feel as hungry, or they get full quickly, or they do not want large meals. Eggs can help bridge that gap. They deliver meaningful nutritional value in a relatively compact and manageable form, which makes them especially useful when appetite is unpredictable. And if your legs have felt more unsteady lately, there is something else to consider. Lower body strength is not only about muscle size, it is also about coordination, reaction, recovery, and resilience. The body needs enough nutritional support to preserve all of that. Eggs can be one of the daily anchors that make the rest of your eating pattern stronger and more effective. Before we go to number 1, take a second and ask yourself this honestly. How often are you truly eating to support your muscles, not just to fill your stomach? That one shift in thinking can change everything, because once you start feeding your body with intention, you begin to give your legs a real chance to respond. And now we come to the top food on this list. This is the one that stands out because it supports muscle health from more than one direction at the same time. It is not just about protein. It is not just about energy. It is not just about recovery. This food helps create the kind of internal environment aging muscles need if they are going to stay strong, responsive, and capable. And yet, many people either eat too little of it, choose the wrong version, or do not realize how important it can be after 60. 1. Salmon. If there is one daily or near-daily food that can make an extraordinary difference in how your legs feel and function after 60, it is salmon. And the reason salmon earns the number 1 spot is simple. It supports the muscles, the nerves, the recovery process, and the inflammatory balance of the body all at once. Very few foods check that many boxes so effectively. Let's start with the obvious. Salmon is an excellent source of high-quality protein, and as you now know, that matters enormously after 60. But salmon goes further. It also provides omega-3 fatty acids, and this is where things become especially important for aging adults. One of the hidden problems behind weak or aging muscles is that the internal environment of the body can become less favorable for muscle maintenance over time. Recovery becomes slower. low-grade inflammation can rise. The body may become less efficient at using nutritional signals to maintain tissue quality. And when that happens, the legs are often among the first places where you feel the consequences. Your legs do not just need fuel. They need a body environment that allows them to recover, respond, and keep working efficiently. Salmon helps support that. It is one of those foods that does more than one job at once, which makes it especially valuable for older adults who want the biggest return from what they eat. And think about what that means in practical terms. If your muscles recover better, daily movement feels more manageable. If your body is getting stronger support for muscle preservation, standing up may feel easier. Walking may feel steadier. You may feel less wiped out after activity. Those improvements are not magic. They are the result of giving the body more of what it has been missing. There is also a deeper reason salmon matters for people over 60. Strength is not just about the muscle fibers themselves. Your body is a coordinated system. Muscles need nerves to activate them properly. They need circulation to deliver oxygen and nutrients. They need enough protein to repair. They need recovery support so they can keep functioning over time. Salmon contributes to that larger picture. That is what makes it more than just another protein food. Now, here is an important detail. The way people use salmon matters. Some only eat it once every few weeks and expect it to somehow solve everything. Others choose versions that are heavily processed or loaded with ingredients that take away from the health value. The goal is not perfection. The goal is regularity and quality. Even having salmon several times a week as part of a consistent, strength-supportive eating pattern can make a meaningful difference over time. And no, this does not mean every meal has to become complicated. Salmon can be baked simply, added to salads, paired with vegetables, served with lentils, or combined with yogurt-based sauces and herbs. It can become part of a sustainable routine rather than a special occasion food. That is where its real power shows up. Not in one dramatic meal, in repetition. This is what so many people miss when they try to improve leg strength after 60. They look for one pill, one trick, one miracle shortcut. But the body usually changes through repeated inputs, daily signals, repeated nourishment, steady support. That is how the legs become more dependable again. Not overnight, but absolutely over time. Now, if you are hearing all of this and thinking, so what should I actually do starting tomorrow? That is exactly what we are about to cover, because knowing the top foods is useful, but knowing how to bring them into your day in a way that is realistic, simple, and effective is where real change begins. And there are a few common mistakes that can quietly cancel out your progress, even when you think you are eating well. Before we finish, if this video is helping you see leg weakness in a completely new way, make sure to like this video and subscribe to Senior Health Circle. And tell me in the comments, which of these foods do you already eat most often? I read as many comments as I can, and I love seeing how this community supports each other. In the final part, I am going to show you how to combine these foods into a simple daily pattern for stronger legs after 60, the biggest mistakes that make weakness worse, and what many people never realize until their mobility has already started declining. Now that you know the foods that can best support stronger legs after 60, the next step is even more important: using them in a way that actually helps your body. Because information alone does not change strength. Consistent action does. And one of the biggest mistakes people make is thinking that adding one healthy food here and there is enough to rebuild what the body has been gradually losing for years. It usually is not. The body responds best when it receives the right signals repeatedly, across days and weeks, in a pattern it can work with. That is why I want you to stop thinking in terms of random healthy choices and start thinking in terms of daily support. Your leg muscles do not care whether a food was labeled a superfood online. They care whether they are consistently receiving the protein, minerals, healthy fats, and recovery support they need to keep doing their job. And if you want your legs to feel stronger, steadier, and more dependable, then your meals need to start reflecting that goal. A simple way to do that is to anchor your day around muscle-supportive meals instead of convenience-only meals. For example, breakfast can become your first opportunity to support your legs rather than your first missed chance. Instead of starting the day with mostly refined carbohydrates and very little protein, you could build a breakfast around Greek yogurt with pumpkin seeds, or eggs paired with vegetables, and a more balanced side. That immediately changes the message you send to your body. Instead of saying, "Just get me through the morning," you're saying, "Help preserve muscle, help support movement, help sustain energy." Lunch and dinner matter too, of course, but breakfast is often where older adults fall behind without realizing it. Then the rest of the day becomes a nutritional catch-up game, and many people never really catch up. By the time dinner comes around, they are low on energy, more likely to choose whatever is easiest and less likely to eat. In a way that truly supports muscle maintenance, that is why your first meal can quietly influence the whole day. A very practical pattern might look like this. One meaningful protein source at each main meal, at least one of the foods from this list every day, and regular rotation so your body gets support from multiple angles. Maybe Greek yogurt and pumpkin seeds in the morning. Lentils at lunch with vegetables and olive oil. Salmon or eggs later in the day. It does not have to be perfect. It just has to be repeated often enough that your body can begin responding to it. And let me say something important here. Some people hear advice like this and think, well, I already eat some of those foods once in a while. But once in a while is not the same as strategic consistency. Muscles are living tissue. They are either being supported regularly or they are gradually being neglected. That may sound harsh, but it is true. After 60, your body is less forgiving of inconsistency. That means the gap between "I eat healthy sometimes" and "I eat in a way that protects my muscles" is much bigger than most people realize. Now let's talk about the mistakes, because this is where many adults unintentionally make leg weakness worse. The first mistake is waiting until weakness becomes obvious before taking nutrition seriously. Many people do not act until stairs become difficult, balance feels less reliable, or getting up from a chair becomes noticeably harder. But by then, the decline has usually been building quietly for a long time. It is much easier to support muscle than to try to recover lost function after the problem has become advanced. That does not mean improvement is impossible. It means earlier action is better. The second mistake is focusing only on exercise while ignoring food quality. Yes, movement matters. Walking matters. Strength work matters. Staying active matters. But if your muscles are being challenged without being nourished, progress may be limited. Think of it this way. Activity tells the body what you want it to do, but nutrition helps give it the resources to do it. You need both, not one without the other. The third mistake is eating too little protein earlier in the day and too much empty food overall. This is extremely common. A light breakfast, a weak lunch, snacks that do not nourish, and then a larger dinner that still may not provide enough meaningful muscle support. That pattern can leave the body underfed where it matters most. Your muscles need regular nourishment, not just a heavy meal at night. The fourth mistake is relying too much on ultra-processed foods because they are easy. And yes, convenience matters. But many convenience foods are soft, quick, and comforting, while offering very little in terms of the nutrients your muscles truly need. Well, they may fill the stomach without feeding strength. That is one reason some people feel tired, weak, or unstable, even though they believe they are eating enough. The fifth mistake is assuming weakness is completely normal and therefore not worth addressing. This belief is dangerous because it leads to passivity. Of course, the body changes with age. Of course, recovery is different. Of course, muscle maintenance becomes more challenging. But more challenging is not the same as hopeless. Too many people surrender to decline that may be slowed, supported, or partially improved simply because they were never told how much nutrition still matters later in life. And there is one more mistake that does not get discussed enough: inconsistency caused by lack of planning. You do not need a complicated meal plan, but you do need some structure. If your kitchen is stocked only with foods that are easy but not supportive, that is what you will keep eating. If you keep Greek yogurt, eggs, pumpkin seeds, lentils, and salmon in regular rotation, your decisions get easier. Your habits improve with less effort. And over time, that becomes the real advantage. So what should you actually take away from all of this? Take away the idea that your legs are listening to what you do every day. They are responding to your meals, your movement, your recovery, and your consistency. The body may age, yes, but it still responds to support. It still adapts. It still reflects your patterns. And when you change those patterns, even in simple ways, you may begin to notice that your legs feel less heavy, your steps feel more stable, your stamina improves, and daily life feels more manageable again. That is why this topic matters so much. Stronger legs are not only about comfort, they are about freedom. Freedom to get up without hesitation. Freedom to walk with more confidence. Freedom to go where you want without your body feeling like a barrier. When your legs are stronger, so much of life opens back up. That is what makes daily nutrition such a powerful place to start. It is practical, it is accessible, and it gives you something you can begin changing right away. If there is one message I want you to remember from this video, it is this: do not underestimate the power of daily foods to influence how your legs feel after 60. Weakness does not always arrive dramatically. It often builds quietly. And support works the same way. Quietly, gradually, repeatedly. Until one day, what used to feel difficult starts to feel a little easier. Your legs have carried you through decades of life. They have helped you work, travel, care for others, and keep moving forward through every season. They deserve support. And sometimes that support begins with something as simple as what you choose to put on your plate tomorrow morning. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe to Senior Health Circle and turn on notifications so you do not miss our next videos on healthy aging, mobility, nutrition, and practical ways to feel stronger after 60. And in the comments, tell me this: which food from today's list are you going to start eating more often this week?